our special guest star, Sergeant Sparky Mustachio, played by Rob. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm just loaded with tons of love for computers everywhere. Speaking of which, Wilbur Aloysius Kuchenmeyer being played by Michael.
Howdy, howdy.
There is nothing like a good Chaos Actual being played by Nicole.
Yo, in the house.
And then, of course, Lieutenant Rick James being played by J.R. Hanley.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
So, what was the fun today?
Dysentery kept the bad guys at bay.
Pretty much. I heard loaded and I thought liquor. Excellent, Captain Kilgosha. Excellent. So what'd you guys think of the adventure today? How about some things that went right?
I think my plan went right. I was pretty good about that. That was a pretty good plan.
It went good until the moment.
It went good until I busted it out. I think I did pretty good with the sort of stalling and the bartery and the tempting of illicit and lascivious chemical enhancing pleasures. I
know that
yeah.
I say in the chat they were suggesting that tale you were telling, they wanted you to write that novel of Pirates in the Forgotten Ruin.
Yeah.
And the Sultan of Ankylor.
The Sultan of Ankylor and the Golden Towers of Ankylor.
And the 7 boobed women.
That's an excellent book title.
6-armed women with 7 boobs.
Oh my God, I was dying.
See, the thing is, you got a perfect book title, and now you've got instructions for the illustrator.
Yeah, exactly. I don't write harem. I do.
Now
I
Jason's
do a lot
gonna
of
give me
things.
dad face.
Yeah, Jason would stop writing with me if I wrote harem.
It's not a harem if it's a single person.
He would give me that dad look. Nicole asked me the other day. She goes, "Well, what is harem?" And I get carried away with Nicole, and I was telling her, and I was like, I said, "Well, if I had to write a harem novel, here's what I'd write. I'd write about this like guy who is like a horror novel." And he has to choose between a pumpkin lady who has 2 pumpkins for boobs and a pumpkin head, and then the other lady is a turkey lady. So it'd be like a holiday novel.
Oh my God!
The hell?
Nicole rolls her eyes a lot when you talk. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Did she ask what was wrong with you this time?
I think she like it's rare that it comes up, but like I think she just now understands it. But like I always like when I get one through that she hasn't got, and it takes it to a new level. And she's like, "Man, you really are disturbed." I go, "I know. I'm Black Irish. We're a mess."
Oh my God!
We're the darkest, most murderous people on the planet Earth.
You also have this weird obsession with food. I don't think I've ever met anyone into food as much as you. Like the way you talked about that fish, like you were getting off on it. Like, oh yeah, sear it good, baby.
Man, food is life. Food is good. Tonight I got a Chinese chicken salad, some great dumplings. Then I ate 3 not fortune cookies, but like this place that I go to, they take the, like how you get the bullshit Chinese like almond cookie.
Yeah,
they take it and dip half of it in chocolate and then freeze it.
That's next level.
I know. And I'm like, I will have 3, please. And Nicole's like, why don't you just have 1 with me? And I'm like, nah, I need 3. It's been a rough day.
Every single one of my books has a food scene. Every single one.
Right on.
Food scenes are great.
So yeah, things were going kind of well until all of a sudden there was a mishap with somebody pulling a sword out.
That was an oops.
That sword got me in trouble a couple of times today.
Yeah.
Gee, whatever did you mean, Nick?
I admit though I loved that part because Nick, you were just getting into it so hardcore, and it was just building and building and building, and whoops! And everybody just had a collective crap their pants moment.
But only when Walt actually reminded us that Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody started backing up. They're like, "Where did that sword come from?"
That was excellent.
Oh my
The
god!
funny part was when Nick realized that he failed the roll, and he's like, "No, it's really a 1." And then Walt just gives him
Is
that
that a
look.
7?
And Walt just gives him that look.
Oh, that kind of looks like a 7, but then I was like, nah, that's a 1. And you got to be honest about your dice rolls. That is D&D, and it's half the fun. It's half the fun. But it's always fun to pull off the big moments where you do the Errol Flynn or whatever. But then the epic fails are kind of funny too, and blowing off the front of a ship is pretty fun.
I thought it was
pretty
hysterical
awesome.
just because of the fact that you were like, you jump off of the rigging onto the rope, swing outside of the gun rail, and come onto the other side, landing behind in this epic, like I could just picture it, like Jason Momoa, like flying through the air with the sword, kind of down like a spike, ready to impale this thing, or impale that dude, and then all of a sudden, there's the 1. Like, no, roll a percentile, and you're like 0, 0. I'm like, this is gonna be amazingly horrible or horribly amazing.
One time, it's so rare to roll a critical, either failure or fumble, and then to roll a 00, which is usually the worst possible thing that can happen. But one time when I was about 14 years old, I had to assassinate a 12th level priest when there was AD&D, and you could have assassins. And I was in way over my head, and the DM really wanted to kill me. And so, it was one of those James M. full-on ward, legal, let me take the DM, let me lay out my case, Your Honor. And he's like, okay. Because I said the first thing I did, because it was this 12th level evil cleric, and I had and I was a 2nd level assassin, and I had masqueraded my way down into his dungeon, and he was pretty well on to me, and he was going to smoke me. And I said, okay, I kick him in the balls, and he's like, you can't even hit his AC, and I'm like, no, a 20 is always a hit, no matter what. That's how D&D works back then. And I rolled a 20, and I kicked this guy in the balls, and he bent over. That was the only thing, it's the only thing I can do is I can just kick him in the balls. So then there was a big argument about well, there is no to hit table or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, but I kicked this guy in the balls, and he doubled over because I think that was either a roll on the chart or whatever. And then we get into the argument about assassins assassinating and what they need, and assassins had that assassination table, and he's like, you can't even assassinate him. And I'm like, I know, but he's doubled over, and I have a dagger, so I should be able to do this. Like, everybody's arguing around the table. And he goes, okay, well, you have to roll another 20 to hit him, and then you have to roll a 00. And I'm not kidding. I rolled another 20 and another 00, like right in front of 15 kids. And it was great. And then I threw his dead body into a neotug and then walked away.
Like a boss.
Nayland was saying that the next time you need to swing through the air with the sword clenched in your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of movies she's watching, but
she has a very perverse, questionable mind.
It's the gay porn version of the Errol Flynn movie. Yeah.
Oh,
you guys
have
no idea.
Speaking of, the funny part was when Nick's got the 00 and the 1, it's like, it's okay, I can take it.
Like a man.
I'll take it like a man.
Take your critical fumbles like a man. Don't cry. I did cry one time when I was a kid, and my 6th level cleric got assassinated in the village of Hamlet. I was like, I just started crying, and everybody felt bad for me. And that's why I joined the army and became a man.
But yeah, that was incredible, taking the front half of that entire ship off, and then
make my job easier.
Yeah, right. Well, you were having a hard time anyway, because what happened was the second Chaos Actual pulled a sword out of the thin air, and then started yelling, "I have the power." A wave of mist was rolling across because they had summoned in that thing, and basically blotting out any chance that you could see across.
And that Hydra would have been a pain in the ass to kill too. So,
I mean, I had some ideas on how to deal with it if it came up on the boat. I don't know if it'd work. I was going to release all the hate and firepower between the cannons and the 240 and my fancy spear gun, but I was kind of in this position like, well, if I start popping shots off at it, it might ruin the day for the crew on the ship. So it's like,
Yeah, our day was kind of screwed. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, before that, things were about to get bad because you had the Hydra in the water, which it was a three-headed Hydra formed from that guy using that magic item. But then you had on the back of their boat, they had 2 ballista.
yeah, I noticed that.
And plus they had all of these magic users in the form of these Black Grove guys in their kind of like retinue, and things were about to get messy. And then that. Thanks, JR, with the weird microphone. And then all of a sudden that 1 and that 00 hit, and it was like boom. Things went sideways really, really fast.
Now, I haven't lost a saving throw in ages, and today was the day.
Yeah, you guys got roughed up a little bit, but it was almost like a fortunate misadventure, just because of the fact that what do you call it? You had the Hydra in the water. You had all these guys on deck. I mean, you had. You had these guys with magical powers. It was a pretty stacked deck. It would have gone. I mean, you guys had stuff to your advantage. You have cannons, and you have guys with machine gun. Now, granted, you only have about 150 rounds left for that thing. But if you can get to your forge and pull the forge up, it's going to be a whole different story. But what did you? Oh, go ahead.
And I also add, I never seen a signal to actually lay down the hate, so I'm still kind of hanging back there, like, just let me know, guys. Okay, it's coming for me. I know that.
So, Nick, I would like to humbly suggest if we get the forge running, we make the ironclads.
Sure, totally.
Yes.
Make them piece by piece.
Heck yeah! I mean, the Merrimack was made off of a wooden hull. We could do it.
You could do something. You could build Soviet reactive armor from the late '80s.
Oh God!
Oh God! As long as I'm on the right side of that.
Could you imagine a land shark?
Which is basically like covering your ship in claymores.
Could you imagine something just like charging out of the water like a dragon turtle and hits the reactive armor? And gets like blown off, and you guys are forced to eat turtle soup for the next like 14 days. But yeah, I mean, you guys have a pretty cool ship right now. I mean, you got all this room. You got plenty of places to put your cannons.
This is the greatest ship ever.
The Cyclops or
the Cyclops or, and I got a veteran cougar mom, Dolores, who likes to drink and fish.
Yeah, the former slave woman who you rescued
former
from
slave girl.
Yeah,
fun time Dolores. Everyone needs one of those in here.
I mean,
why do you keep stealing Dolores from me?
She seemed all in.
Yeah, all her buddies ran off, and Nick was just like, "They'll be back."
Hey, what about me?
They'll be back when they figure out it's an island.
Sonokin wants to know, hey Nick, who cleans the barnacles off the whore?
Who cleans? Well,
is that Benny?
That's the doctor.
Man, boy. So what did you think about the reaction of the dice?
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was really fun. I like that I can now. I think we'll have to figure it out, but summon a Banshee's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, when she first appeared as like this like sultry kind of playful ghost, did you think it was going to go that way?
I thought it was going to be like an illusion that would buy us a few minutes to kind of like scramble and do our stuff. But once she went Ghostbusters, I was like, all right, it's time for whiskey and treachery.
That's got to be the new the new T-shirt.
Whiskey and treachery.
Whiskey and treachery. Oh
now,
my
the
God!
question is what would she have turned on us as well?
You don't know. You're gonna have to find out.
I guess. All right.
So, but yeah, there was a lot going on that deck. And then,
Well, I was trying to play
The funny thing-
Hey, we're on your side, yeah, guys. Go fight that girl. Yeah.
The funny thing is, there was a lot going on that deck in about the space of 30 seconds if you added it up. Like it was this totally normal conversation, like, we're all gonna go aboard. I'm like over there, and then suddenly it's Banshee, Hydra, Owlbear, witches, everybody like basically, like it was like a cowboy thing, like in the mid 90s, like suddenly everybody's pulling out every gun in the bar, like but it only lasts for about 30 seconds and then everybody's dead. It's that scene in Inglorious Bastards in the German Ratskiller.
yeah.
Everybody's just pointing a gun at everybody else. So I was like,
And I got to tell you, Rick James had his moment throwing Charm Person down in the hold.
well, yeah,
I learned something too. Apparently, it's not mind control. That's different.
That's a different spell.
No.
I like that.
I was
JR
down to 4 hit
instantly
points because
willing
of it.
to go to like vampiric mind thrall as opposed to like, hey, let me suggest some things you do. Like suddenly you're turning them into your gimps.
Oh my god, that was hysterical. I was like, oh crap, he didn't read the spell.
I did. I just didn't like. I read it differently. Clearly.
Yeah, because if you suggest things like for example, when you're using Charm Person, if you charm a person and they fail their saving throw, they're open to suggestion, as long as it doesn't like violate some core tenet of their thing, like, hey, go jump on that knife, something weird like that, or
like James
hey,
M. Ward's like worship a new religion. I'm like, what?
So in my defense, the white box that I have, it says if the spell succeeds, the unfortunate creature falls under the caster's influence. That's the extent of the explanation.
Yeah, it's a little more clear if you read like the 1E and or if you read like the standard edition.
Okay.
Angry Spartan wants to know, lawful good person cannot curb stomp kittens. I clearly missed something in the chat.
I think it is.
Angry Spartan wants to know, did you miss the game? Yeah, we normally 3:30 Eastern on Fridays. But hey man, you can catch it on Twitch. You can catch the back scroll, and oh my god, did things go from 0 to holy hell in a handbag in like the span of a few minutes. It was pretty wild. But yeah, that those dice, they are like the essence of chaos. Because I mean, you never know what you're going to get. You could throw those things on the ground and nothing happens because you don't have either the right combination or the particular die didn't land on the right way or whatever. So yeah, it's Sonokin is saying, yeah, a lawful good person cannot curb stomp kittens when charmed. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I changed the context.
So what mechanic are you using to determine what the dice do?
As far as what,
Like
the mystic dice?
Yeah.
So
could be a table.
Yeah, it's a table.
Okay.
Right. So so basically all the dice are listed out, and each number is listed out, which is my. So for those who don't know, I used to work for a pretty big comic book company back in the day, and then one of the things I hated more than anything else on the planet was drawing windows. Right, like a city scene where you had a skyscraper,
Right.
and you had to, if it was a close up, you had to draw all those windows. All those mind-numbingly boring boxes again and again and again, So yeah, creating a table like that is a little like drawing the windows, because you're basically like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, create your list. 1, 2, blah 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 blah, create your list. Right. So it was, yeah, it's a little mind-numbing to create something like that, but yeah, the dice work by when the player rolls and actively throws the dice, they react in certain instances to each other. And you've been pretty good about keeping them in one spot, because when you lose part of the set, weird things can happen. And, we'll just leave it at that.
So,
So-
is there somewhere a new DM who's about to run a game at the VA might find all those tables? Because I'm not seeing them in the book I've got.
That's because it's a magic item I've created.
Ah, so
Did you
make them
just
for that
say
kind of stuff.
a new DM who's about to run a game at the VA?
Yes.
Okay. All right then.
Would you care to elaborate, JR?
So they're trying to justify doing back in group person. So the social worker that runs the PTSD group I'm in, he's like, oh, there's this new research that said DnD helps, and he knows I'm a nerd, so he's like, you can run it and we can justify our meetings. So
And then you were like, and he's like, do it, fucking bitch. Thank you for your service.
he was he wore the funny green hat in Nam, so I tend to do what he tells me to.
Okay.
Captain Gilgosha wants to know if you're going to do that at the VA drunk.
I gotta drive a bit to get to the VA, so probably not.
So what you're saying is you're going to pregame in the parking lot.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder what the policy is on that.
Nicole always carries booze in her purse.
So I have to borrow her purse to get the good booze, huh?
Oh my God.
Portuguese people drink all day, but they only drink like one drink.
So does she ever like when you're saying stuff like this and she's standing right next to you, she ever throw a swing or anything like that? Or
Well, that's when he
she's
goes
usually
on mute. That's when she's curb stomping him.
Nah, she's usually topless, anyways. Right, baby?
Is that the sound of someone being stabbed?
no, that you missed that's somebody just racked a slide in the background.
See, now I know it's not cool because she can't rack a slide.
Oh God!
No, she actually
murdering you
can.
in your sleep.
She did really good with my Glock this week, and like initially when she first started shooting it, like it was like watching a cat try to fire a Glock while being dipped into cold ice water. But now she like she picked it up the other day and just banged out one magazine, and then she's like, "I've had enough." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you did good with that." She's a great shot, but she's really skittish around it. So we have fun.
What we need to do is we need to get her like something chambered for. Have you seen the new FN57 pistol?
You know what? I've been looking at that too because there's a lot of them on Gunbroker. Are they nice?
I haven't gotten to fire one yet, but I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, because we're gonna go to the Pew Pew range and throw some make some long distance holes in paper, and
Yeah.
I kind of want to. One of my buddies has one. And we kind of want to fire one. So
Yeah, I like the look of them and everything. Like, and what I can't have, what I want, is a Walther PvP, but that's not on California's approved gun list. But she has a Walther P22 that I like firing, and she has no problem with that.
Yeah, the other one I've had my eye on, just because it looks like the gun that Tyrus Rex would probably use, is the new Keltec.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I have. It's very nice.
Yeah, it uses the P90 mags. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's slick.
So Nick, now we've got the. Go ahead.
I'm casting around for like an actual old AMT long slide, and I'm gonna have it like really tricked out and finished, and basically make it look like that Tyrus Rex's gun.
Oh my God! Could you imagine the long slide with the big laser sight, like going old school Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think I'll get like an updated. I mean, that gun had a few problems, but it is a nice gun, and it's also it was one of the few guns made in Southern California, like really close to where I live. So like I'd like to get it for like a vintage thing, but I'd like to like send it to like a really nice gun customization shop like AETI or something like that, and have them like really make it nice. But supposedly you can only fire like ball ammunition in it. That's all that works with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've heard that.
That's weird. Well, I mean, you really don't need much more than ball ammunition.
no,
I
with
mean,
a 45, a ball, you're great. You know.
Yeah. I got a 4570 always close by, and let me tell you, that thing clears its throat. It's a good time. It's
Exactly.
definitely a good time.
But at the end of the day, like if anybody's like having fun talking about Glocks, the one thing I will say about Glocks, and everybody has hard feelings about it, but the greatest thing about the Glock is every time you pull that trigger, it goes bang, and that's what you
Yep.
want.
No, I don't know why people make fun of it and stuff because it's for the price.
Because it's there's you have to be honest about why you make fun of it. It's a goofy gun, like it's plastic, it's a big chunk, it's not elegant or anything, but it's the epitome of the Germanic culture. It absolutely works when you need it to.
It's the Volkswagen.
And yeah, it's just gonna do it's like it. It's not going to group way out, but like it's. I really like it. I really like it. I didn't think
Get the job done.
They get the job done, and that's like when you need a weapon. Like if you actually like that situation where you need a weapon. Well, what weapon do you want? Because I like the Walther. It's very elegant. It's very nice, but like it'll jam on a lot of rounds. It'll get failure to feeds.
No, my carry weapon is a Glock. I mean, I've got a Kimber that I'm never going to go. Was my carry for like a millisecond and never again. Because it jams with a full magazine.
Yeah.
So
you can't have a jam when some BLM dude is pounding on your head.
No.
So speaking of pounding on the head, this is the important
Not to get
question.
political, everybody, but I just did.
Not to get political, but like be political.
Jason always says when Nick says not to get political, it's about to get political.
So Nicole can shoot the pistol, but how is she with the holy e-tool?
The holy e-tool, she's weak. She's weak. She has little bird arms and everything like that. But she also has her own little M4 in 22 LR. She's cool with that. And won't get near the bastard, which is 308. That would just knock
the bastard. That is just you need to get that like monogrammed into the gun, right into the stock. The bastard.
I just have it really like I want you to do this like you are a 14-year-old kid carving Aussie rules into a desk. That's what I want to look like.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. That is awesome.
That's been D&D Gun Chat.
Yes, which you guys haven't been using a lot of. The only gunplay that really happened today was the 240 team opening up. And then, of course, the blowing the bucket in the middle of the water.
Blowing the shot on the bucket.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I love my epic
guys
fails.
are like most of these guys are GWAT guys. Like if we're playing our characters, we're GWAT guys. And being an Air Force crew, we probably had some Spectre gunship time or minigun off the cargo deck kind of time and stuff like that. And that's all gone now. And we're in a world of goblins and elves, and it's like watching Rock Power. He's sort of had this schizophrenic break where you could tell, like on the days we had off after flying, like you fly to Korea and back, and then you get a day off. Like he sat on his couch and he watched Johnny Depp, playing, doing Pirates of the Caribbean. He's like, man, that's what I'd like to do with my life. It's like, that's never going to happen because there are no more pirates anymore. And then they send him through the wormhole, and he's like, guess what? I don't need to, I can live my fantasy. So, I mean, what would you do, like in real life? Like, what would you, if you ended up in a D&D world with a finite amount of ammunition and a whole lot of steel, you probably think I better get better at steel than finite ammunition.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that was the whole thing when I spent some time in the PI, and that was the whole thing down there. I mean, those guys are armed to the teeth. They have the same thing we do. They have M4s. They have, they have a lot of crews have the old M60. They have the you're starting to see like the 240 Bravo and the SAW show up. But at the same time, those guys are like a rampant knife culture, and if you go out of the house with the Filipino Marines, they always have this big ass knife with them called a gununting, and it's about the size of if you look at the brown sword that's in the middle of my display, it's like one of those with the edge on the wrong side, so it's like swinging a big giant hook a sharpened hook at somebody, and using one of those, using high-powered bows.
Is the cutting edge on the outer or the inner side of the hook?
It's on the inside, so it's on the wrong side of the.
So it's on the.
Yeah, it's basically a big sickle,
Yeah.
You know, with a instead of like a sword handle where it's straight, it's a pistol grip, so it comes off of your hand almost like a pistol would.
Yeah.
But they're big. They're about the smallest ones I've seen are about with a 12-inch blade. The one I have is an 18-inch blade. But I mean, using one of those is just really really scary when you see one of those coming at you. Or
they're really good at removing limbs.
yeah, I was reading this thing the other day. Really really cool thing where they had certain places in the Asiatic countries were experimenting with back in the swords and spear days, doing room clearing in castles. Basically, when they had to take over a castle, they would go room to room and execute people that they would find. But one of the things they had was, with before the Chokuto, which was the repeating crossbow, came out, which only saw limited production because even though the crank that used the crossbow could put 5 or 6 shots on target fairly quickly, the problem was the string tension wasn't high enough to do any real damage to people unless anybody in armor. So what somebody experimented with doing, and of course, your characters might run into this at some point, is they took a crossbow stock and a horseman's bow. And the horseman's bow would fit into the front of the crossbow stock, and then they would lock it and lock the string back, load an arrow, and then they could move through the castle. And then when they shoot, right after they shoot, they would there was this like pin on like a brace on a pin. They would just turn the brace, pull the bow out, and then they could just loose arrows from down the hallway with the regular bow with the speed of the bow versus having it just cocked and ready with the crossbow, because of how much time it takes to load one of those. So yeah, it was there was a lot of innovations even back then that could make your weapons more deadly. I mean, even even if we were talking firearms, I love those old cap and ball firearms, like the old 1858 Remington cowboy guns, lever action guns.
I fired some of those. They're fun.
The old press and mess type, blunderbuss musket, black powder, stuff like that. I mean, that kind of stuff you could also fabricate pretty easily because it's just basically, a rod, hollow rod, a wood stock, and a ball bearing, with a bunch of chemicals thrown down one side. So hell yeah, I'd definitely go native to conserve ammo because, if something like really nasty came after you, like we see in Forgotten Ruin, definitely, yeah, you definitely want to save your ammo for something a little more freaky than just somebody looking for Moon God Potion.
And the interesting thing is, you can take a lot of those ideas and blend them with modern tactics, and even maybe some of those weapons with modern optics. When we get the Forge back, you could actually do some interesting takes on some of those old designs and concepts.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, how do I get a thermal scope on my harpoon gun? It's like I tried. I'm desperate.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is I was actually studying recently the differences between like modern bows, crossbows, and ones from like the 1500s, and it's just amazing how different the technology is. Because like the old ones that had like an assisted wind that had like 1,000-pound pull, but they don't go nearly as fast. It's because of how the reaction time when you let go of that of that pressure is not nearly as fast as like modern 150-pound pull crossbow.
Yeah, because of the cam system and the way that it drives the string.
It's just much faster. I mean, you get more overall power, but it's not as efficient. So it's like
Speaking of efficient,
go ahead.
We got El Bersidente says he'd use the Forge only to make Moon God Potion and bring diabetes to everyone. That is how you truly conquer the world.
That's our chaos bear.
Oh my God, Mr. BC Walker! If you can manufacture brass castings and primers, you can make knockoff Springfield trapdoors or some similar single shot rifle. Yeah, true that. And nail it. Way to go, Doc. And no available insulin. Oh my God. Yep, that is freaking fantastic. what did you think of those? What did you think of the myrrh that you had to deal with today?
They seemed
Well,
cool.
So was that
say,
planned, or did you riff off when we said, "I bet it's mermaids"?
Nope, that was planned. No, I write everything up in my little goofy notebook, and then I what do you call it? Are you laughing at the underwater video?
I'm laughing at chat and watching the video though.
Oh,
The
right
chat's
on.
going off the rails.
I'm kind of wondering, did that thing actually penetrate the target?
A little bit.
Like it.
Yeah, it penetrated, but it didn't do much more than that. But
I
yeah,
was gonna
so
say,
like
that's gotta be tough.
I carry my little notebook everywhere I go, and then so that was on next to the last page. So got all my notes in there on the myrrh.
So if
And,
that guy that helped us out is the brother of the prince, that means he must be a prince as well.
Why? Yes, that is some flawless logic you have there.
So are any of the weapons they gave us magical?
You will have to check that out.
Or
I
we'll
suspect
cast
the
it.
one that
I wanna
Chaos
check that
Actual
out.
got should be.
So obviously the sash sword that
Yeah.
Chaos Actual got,
That's cool.
that has to be some magical. But a neat way to hide a weapon, especially if you're a captain under a white flag.
And he wants to dress up as a pirate anyway, so it fits the costume.
Dress up as a pirate. I am a pirate.
That's right.
So that was neat. But you also got several different things as he was kind of raining thanks on everybody. What did you think about some of the items that you got?
I thought it was kind of cool. The funny part was your reaction when I tried to be hospitable and return a gift. He's like, okay, sure, whatever. That was hilarious.
Well, it doesn't mean to take out the trash. I'm confused.
But yeah, it was interesting the way it ended up, and then of course, at the end of things, Kuchenmeyer is sitting down on a log, kind of watching everybody run around, and all of a sudden, you have this like nearly drowned witch drag herself up onto the beach. What did you guys think of that?
I know Nick is going to interface with her now.
I was wondering if I needed to shoot her. Like, oh crap.
She's an
I
ex.
thought it was I thought it was a nice plot hook to to keep the sort of real world story going, and then this story going. But I thought that was cool. I like that.
Yep. So the thing that I did see in her hand was the actual ID, or was it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you saw it was a plastic placard, laminated, so it had survived for a little while, with the clip to put it on her shirt, and it had credentials consistent with certain alphabet soup agencies.
Yeah.
All right, but I was waiting for Nick to say, "This is how you D&D, Josh."
Why is that?
Hayes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it wasn't Josh Hayes, it was Jennifer Hayes.
Jennifer Hayes, which maybe Josh likes to swing on the weekend.
We didn't see what was under the hood. All I'm saying is it just said Jennifer.
I tried to kill him. I tried to kill Josh Hayes once in Vegas, and he didn't die. So that makes me think he's a tranny.
He is going to pee in my coffee. I just ordered like 2 bags from him again. He's going to pee on it.
No, he's happy to have survived.
Yeah, poop, pee, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, Josh and I had a really ghoulish evening of driving around Vegas where the shooting happened, and like basically breaking it down. Like me and Josh and Scott Moon and Jason, basically just ghoul driving around a mass murder.
That's a lot of cop in one car.
Yeah, it was, but they're Midwestern cops, so it's not like they're not all scarred and damaged by life like city cops. they're more ruined by I think like the weirdness of sort of like the Midwest. Like they would tell you they told us these really strange stories about this gypsy family that kind of runs everything and is responsible for like 90% of the crime where they live. So that was kind of fun. But they're not like, they're not like like some Ray Liotta cop who's just basically crooked, and stuff like that. They're real cops. They're good cops. That's what I'm trying to say.
And they sell coffee, so that's why Nick and Walt like him.
Oh my God, more coffee.
They've never given me any coffee, but I wouldn't trust
What?
them because they'd probably roofie me.
Do you want me to send you a bag?
Sure. Yeah.
I got you. I got you, fam. What do you like? Dark roast?
I like dark roast. I like anything. I'm a whore.
I got you. I got
How
you.
long till the Rangers build a green bean coffee in the
Oh,
ruin?
in the ruin?
Because that stuff was that kept me alive in my deployment. All I'm saying.
Oh my God, green bean coffee. That was we what do you call it? We were getting ready to cross the border, so we had like one more day of equipment refit, and we go into the green bean coffee in Kuwait, and there's this like little short dude surrounded by like guys who look like they ate a flock of gorillas, and I'm like, the hell is this? Was department head of state or something like that? And then I see the mullet, and I'm like, guys, it's Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is here in the green beans.
Oh, was that Camp Navstar or was it AJ?
Where the hell was that?
Is he little?
He's tiny. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's something to be saying if Walt's calling someone else tiny.
Yeah, I know, right? He was my height, and he was wearing the cowboy boots, so that was
Lone Wolf
Never
McQuaid.
meet your heroes.
I'm not saying I need Lone Wolf McQuaid to be a giant, but not tiny.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was cool though. He's a cool cat. He loved being around soldiers, and we tried not to make fun of the fact that he used to be in the Air Force. So I mean, yeah, he was a very cool cat, very generous with his time. All these big bodyguards are trying to keep people away when they realized who he was, and he's just like, no, let them through, man, let them through. Let's talk to these guys, So yeah, he was good people. That was fun, And then you got like soldiers do, just asking a bunch of stupid questions like, do you really ride a horse? No, and
Did you kick Bruce Lee's ass?
Right. Yeah. Who really won in that fight? You get some weird questions going on. But yeah, so what do you think you guys are going to do now that you've made an alliance with an undersea kingdom? Do you think that could kick your piracy to a whole new level?
Well,
I'm hoping so.
Isn't there some promise of possible booty even from the ship that just went down?
Well, they were bringing it all on the beach, so now you guys are going to have to go. You guys are going to have to go through it,
right?
Because the brother Prince Keegan, he had said, whatever you guys take out of that, we just need those slaves freed. And they didn't give you a reason why they couldn't do it themselves because they seemed competent. But yeah,
he wanted to rescue his brother.
It was all those fetishes from the dark whatever group, the Brotherhood.
Could be. What did you? Speaking of which, Wilbur, what did you think when that crow went off? That crow grenade.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to take advantage of some of this. I mean, do I have a clue whether or not that's like druid magic or do we? It seems like there is a designation between like wizardry kind of mage magic and druid magic. So
well, this doesn't seem like the mage magic because you've been watching Carlo the mage kind of instruct JR, and their stuff is very formulaic. Like. This much powder has to be crushed into your hands and thrown right when you say this word. This hexagram has to be traced in the air at exactly the right. So everything for them seems to be formula. Yeah. Whereas this stuff is just sprinkle some blood on it, toss, quick spit and throw it, So yeah, These guys seem much more tribal, much more like everything that they use is more symbolic than it is mathematical.
Well, I'm gonna have to interface a lot with our local druid or druidess to learn more on how to take advantage of some of this stuff, because I suspect some of the booty that is coming up is going to be related to this.
Well, you did have the Black Grove agents on board,
right.
and you know that they're an antithetical group to the group that she represents.
Right.
So, Nailin, a quick spit is how Nick repopulates the ruin. You know what I need to do? I need to take a night off and go sit in one of Sergeant Sparky Mustachio's games. Sit with his crew. That would be hysterical. Can you talk a little bit about your game and how your game started and what you did with it?
A few weeks ago, it's been about a month now. We've been watching this stream, and me and my core group of friends, and one of them's like, "Hey, I used to play a lot of DnD back when I was in the Marines, and I can DM a game, and you need to find out what they're doing." So I asked you, and he said he had some ideas. Then he backed out kind of last second, and I already said, "Well, we're going to do this." So I took up the mantle, and I've never DM'd a game. Even my play experience is pretty limited, and I decided, well, we'll just do a demo game and see if it crashes or burns. And it's been wildly popular with all kinds of people. People are laughing their asses off at us, and that's really good. And after that first night, I knew I was going to do a proper campaign with a proper story, a proper setting. I actually set up the World Anvil page last night. I don't have much on it. I do have a map. And we plan on launching that campaign May 4th.
Oh, right on.
If all goes well. And it's a hoot. It's a blast. And the last episode of our demo run went completely off the rails because the DM slipped him a potion and kind of forgot about it. And just offhand, I said, "Oh, yeah, you also have this Berserk potion, whatever." And then Naylin decided to drink it when they were out of combat. And in the description, it said, either you attack foes, if there are no combatives, you attack friends. So she went to town on everybody and decided, well, this is the last session in this game. I'm going to drink all the potions. And she drank some of that potion that JR got a hold of, that turned him into the gaseous form. And she proceeded to kill everybody in the party.
She went for a full serial murder hobo.
Yeah, she was cranked up on Berserker potion. It was great.
So normally, do potions compound on each other, or do they cancel each other out?
It depends on the potion.
Isn't that mixable table, whatever?
Yeah, there's a mixability table. Certain potions aren't meant to be used together, and when you drink them together, they have very bad effects. Like some of them is one potion just cancels out the other, so like nothing happens. Another effect that can happen is one potion becomes inert in the presence of the other potion, so the one with the predominant effect takes effect. Or the one with the less effect takes effect. And then there are horrible things that happen, like the two potions work at the same time. I believe fire and levitation will work at the same time, but then you have no control over either. Yeah. So you're just this giant burning cloud of gas just floating off like some kid just lost his balloon at the fair.
Think of this think of all of this as like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as two potions. Just fucking everything up constantly, but one's stronger and one's weaker. And then there's a lot of gas, and it's just a disaster and a nightmare in which the Japanese prime minister shows up, and Joe is feeling under the other, can't even make it downstairs. And we send out the biggest whore we've ever had in government. Anyways, not to get political, everybody, but it's like that.
I would imagine one of the outcomes would be that it actually like boosts the power of one of the potions or something like that.
Wait, Kamala or Joe? You think Kamala,
Yeah, either
Kamala
way.
would boost. The Kamala potion would definitely boost Joe. Nothing's getting boosted by Joe. Frankly.
Yeah, you need some extra strength Viagra for that one.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness.
I thought there was a table for how potions affected each other in the Ostrich book, but I'm like, you know what, this is taking an interesting turn. I'm just gonna let it roll, see what happens, see if they can kill this crazy woman. They did not.
You know, if you go back into like old Dragon magazines and like really look around, you find like some crazy stuff in there. Like I was actually just doing some research for short story I'm gonna write, and like I actually found like a half orc table that goes all into other types of half orc that aren't necessarily half human, which like is interesting because it implies the orcs just went around raping everything. Like
No, they're just misunderstood.
there's like half orc kobolds, half orc gnolls.
Maybe
I mean,
it's
the
the
orc can get it on with anything. And this whole article is like it's like in Dragon number 27, but it's kind of funny. So you can find like especially like potions and stuff like that. If you do, you know, if you kind of do a word search, you can find some crazy rules in the old Dragon magazine.
Oh yeah.
Mainly about orcs raping stuff. But
So are the Dragon magazines now online or at all, or
you can get them online? Yeah.
Okay.
you can there was like a CD or something floating around where you could buy all of them, but you can pretty much just loot the PDFs wherever you can find them.
Yeah.
They're very interesting. They're very nostalgic.
They really
reads,
are.
but they're pretty cool. They're a lot of fun to read and go back and look at.
Yeah, and you can get them in a bunch of different places too. So I mean, and I think the lowest I've seen them, if you want to pick them up on PDF, is $1.99.
So here's a hilarious thing. I just read this article where they in the early Dragon magazines they would write about their like Monday night gaming sessions, and this article is written by James M. Ward, and it's about how they were going to play fantasy D&D versus World War II Germans, Kubel wagons and half tracks and everything like that. So James gets put, and he's writing the whole thing, and he gets put on the German team. And it's these two guys who specialize like in mechanical miniatures and everything like that. And they come up with this plan, like interlocking fields of fire. They're going to waste the orcs and everything like that. And I shit you not. What is like James even recounts what he does. He literally charges forward in the middle of the battle, and his team is yelling at him to get back. And he's like, but I just proceeded up the map and slaughtered everything. Like, and I'm like, man, 30, 40 years, nothing has changed.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hey, diddle diddle, straight up the middle. That's our James Ward.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can find in those old dragons. The archer class, player character class. That class was cool.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the duelist class that I believe somebody is going to be transitioning to.
I don't know. I was just looking at the bard, which the archer and the bard class were in Best of Dragon 3, and I was thinking maybe I could play a bard who doesn't use an instrument but lies a lot. Maybe that's his instrument, is he lies like Rock Powers does.
Rockmetheus.
But maybe I could play half bard, half duelist. I don't know, but I do like duelist. Duelist is pretty darn cool, and I'm a hard player anyway, so who cares? As a player character, not in real life.
You know what I would love to see? I was thinking about this earlier. You know, there's the Rockstar class in White Star.
Mm-hmm.
Nick needs to play a Rockstar wizard, just Prometheus. just play Prometheus straight up in the room.
He puts strings on an actual Viking axe. Plugs it into his wristcom cell phone, and then like riffs tracks while he
all the while looking for the ultimate cheeseburger.
But he also only plays Jethro Tull.
Yes.
Oh God.
That would work if we could get Jason to come back and play a groupie.
I actually got a really cool email from somebody the other day, and they're like, did Jason just decide to stay at the Rangers up way up north and just like stack boxes for them?
Yes. Can you blame him?
I was like,
Well, he knows a guy.
He knows a guy. Yep. Let's see. C.S. Smith, 1510 asks, after all this time, do you think you would get tired of it and want to try something different? I think he was be a bard, talking about being a bard. Being a bard who makes after eating beans.
This isn't Blazing Saddle, Jesse.
Oh my goodness.
Good movie.
It's not that kind of music.
So now that you've secured the help of the Myrrh, and that it's going to take a little bit to get all that treasure onto the beach, sift through it for what you want, and then put it on your boat. What's your next stop? Are you going straight after the forge, or are you going to stop to some places along the way to pirate, loot, and make some alliances?
Definitely the pirate and the looting. But I want to get my sword fixed if I can. And I still have another ingot, so maybe they can do it, huh?
That I mean, they did it once, and know where those dwarves are. You would have to sail back to that part of the country, and then go overland back to Saravolta, which is and it's not that far.
That's right.
Inland.
No, that their way. No, I'll just keep my sword unforged. No, I don't want to go back that way.
Ever since he discovered the dwarven women have beards, he doesn't want to go back.
No, I took that picture down.
They don't have beards. Dwarven women are
just keep telling yourself
sexy, curvy little chicks that are lots of fun.
I definitely think there's got to be more than just the dwarves who can fix that blade.
I
wonder if
we should be able to consult with our druidess and see if she has any ideas.
I wonder if cure light wounds on the blade would do anything.
Yeah, it would waste your spell.
There's wizard spells like restoration or something like that.
Yep, you could do that. Yeah. You could see if there are any of the Inferno Smiths around the islands of the Shattered Sea, because there's a couple of big kingdoms there. You guys haven't gone to them yet.
We need to go to them, and we want to pirate, and we want to gain wealth and build our pirate fleet and enhance our ship, and get more cute slaves.
I'm talking
but we're gonna run out of ammo for the 240 and such. So pirating on route to Taco Machine. Yeah,
I want to make it an ironclad. I think that would be super cool.
So they did a what do you call it? In knocking down some rounds and blowing through that witch dude on the center of the boat. They blew through another 50 rounds, so you're down to 100 total, and you guys are completely out of grenades now. So yeah, things. Yes, go ahead.
Question: were there any fire flasks left on the ship?
Oh yeah, because what do you call it? They took several barrels.
Okay. I'm still kind of thinking about what if the Hydra had actually made a move on the ship. I'm still kind of thinking, what would I have done? Like, this would have been a desperate move, but we're going to light this thing on fire and hopefully not set ourselves on fire.
Yeah, they were making fun of me in the chat earlier, like, oh, it only had 3 heads. That's not all it had, bruh.
Because find out what the rest of it was.
Yeah, because what do you call it? Normally, Hydra's in the game, a Hydra's hit dice is determined by the number of heads that it has. Right, so you get like an 11-headed. That's an 11 hit die monster.
I'm out.
Yeah, right.
I'm swimming to shore.
Most of you guys were in the water too. Luckily, after the boat blew. And that was when that thing got impaled.
So how long does this Myrrh underwater breathing thing last?
It only lasted a couple minutes.
Okay.
Just he was. What's that?
Man, Jason.
Oh, I was going to say, but you're gay
they are.
Go ahead, Nick. Say that again.
I was going to say, but you're gay now.
I mean, we're already in the Navy now. Isn't that understood?
He did perform mouth to mouth.
You're a gay.
No, we're not. You could justify it however you want, but you're gay now. You made it with a dude.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I didn't know walking that merman catch me.
Hey, dude, but isn't it like in the movie Aliens? Hey, it doesn't matter when it's Octurian, baby.
So does that mean I ate sushi?
Oh, no. What happened down in the hold?
Oh my God, that is
God.
I don't
awful.
know. Don't ask, don't tell. I'm not doing it. I don't want to know.
Captain, is that the official policy of our ship? Don't ask, don't tell.
The
If it's
official
down below, it
policy.
didn't happen.
I'm staying up in the
What
crow's
hap-
nest. Screw
I'm
this
just
shit.
saying it's not gay when you're underway.
Oh my
Go ahead, Nick, before we get slapped with a hate violation.
That's inevitable. Trust me.
Yeah.
I think I'll be erased. I think all trace of me on the internet should be erased by Monday.
Oh God.
And I'm going
I
with
would.
him.
I would say that the policy of the ship is rum is good for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't
Absolutely.
think we've disparaged anything gay. I just said gay. There's nothing wrong with saying gay. I said gay was bad. I just said JR is gay. Doesn't go wrong with the
I
word,
assert you've been
dude.
promoting gay.
Sure.
Yeah.
JR is just a very happy sailor.
Uh-huh. So
The
yeah,
chat-
you guys.
Nick,
And that's how we got banned from Twitch.
they're talking about turning the ironclad, and that means it would be the iron whore, which means that the whore just got a chastity belt.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I love this group.
so where do you guys think you're gonna pirate first? Are you just gonna troll the waters and see what falls into your net, or are you gonna kind of poke and prod your two strap hangers and see what they say would be your best targets?
Also, consult the mer people.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got enemies they need us to take out.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea.
And how
Yeah.
far away is the taco machine? We don't really. Is that like a day away? Is it a week
You're
away? Yeah.
you're about a couple of days sail before you have to kind of go to open. You have to go to open water first and then circle back around.
So my gut says that we got to get all of these people's magic weapons that are sort of going limp on us, get them fixed first.
They
'Cause
did.
we don't know.
They already got him. Well,
Well,
Nick had his fully recharged before his dice got the better of him.
I just didn't want to rub it in.
and remember, our 240, which was one of our major offensive weapons, is on its last legs. So
Well, we can't use
Yeah,
that
but-
underwater anyway.
true.
But now we have JR and he can detect magic. So we've got that going for us.
And cure light wounds.
You can't cure light wounds.
You said I could pick 3 from the list.
They have to be magic user spells, JR.
Oh my god.
Cure light wounds is in.
You not magic.
I checked the white. It's the DnD rule book. No, I checked the white book rule.
No, what are you talking about?
I don't
Man.
think wizards can cure like wounds.
Yeah.
Wizards cannot cure light wounds. That is a cleric spell.
Yeah.
We try not to judge, though. So you guys just came in kind of up in here. There were some small sandbar islands up in here. So you got to travel all the way through or go to the outside and go all the way around this way.
I looked at the wrong table.
I'm shocked.
Really? Really?
JR, would you like to recount the hit point story?
I have no recollection of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
So does the witch's cat card get us into anything groovy?
You don't know. You don't know. She's unconscious.
I don't know.
You
It's
know?
not her cat card anymore.
But yeah, this on this map right here, this blue pin is where you guys went down, right? And then there was the small village that originally Benny was going to basically beat down the dude and steal his donkey and cart.
Yeah.
That was that small village that you guys first encountered. Your first kind of like whiff of pirates and orcs.
Weren't we told
and
like
goblins.
that like some of our crew are like slaves now or captured or something?
Captain Calico, the original pirate.
I thought no, like from our plane. Didn't they say?
Oh yeah. They what do you call it? They had said that some of the rangers and crew that went down that didn't make it to the Zodiacs with you guys had been taken as slaves.
See, we should probably go rescue them.
That would add some firepower back that isn't Air Force. You can send all hate mail to J.R. Handley at...
Hey, we've got our own battle cry. It's nice putt.
Right on. Absolutely. But yeah, this is you guys are going to have to head to here, and to give you kind of a an example of how big that area is. So here is the overall map to the Redlands, and kind of your path up into the Broken Teeth. But this is the area you would just traveled to. So it looks like the Caribbean got a huge facelift.
So that's the Shattered Sea that we're. So I guess what's the relationship between the previous map we were looking at and this? Because I was looking at the old map that you had up, and I'm going, all right, where's Florida on that one? Yeah.
Well, no, here's Florida.
Right.
So, and this is the Shattered Sea down here.
Got it. Okay. So
Right.
so we were zoomed in on the southeast part there. So.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
Sparky, not Florida. No. There could be a Florida man. You never know how he would surface in the ruin. He'd probably end up being like some super ancient mystical dude like Vandahar.
What about meth gators? Are we going to get meth gators?
There's always going to be meth gators. But yeah, so you guys think you'll go after the Rangers or any of the captives?
I think we should. That would be the decent thing. Like if I was a captive, I would be like, "Hey, I'm glad you guys came and got me." And they were like, "Yeah, well, we did some other stuff." Like, what'd you do? Oh, we went to a bar fight and we did some piracy and then we learned some spells. And you're like, I was getting whipped every day. They're like, yeah, I know, but we had stuff to do. And you're like, they whipped me and they gouged out my eye. We should probably get around to that.
Go help
Nick
them
will be
out.
like, rub some dirt on it. It'll be okay. Shake it off.
Change your socks.
Change your socks. Military terminology 101. Oh my God. So what would you guys like to see more of, and what would you guys like to see less of as far as the game goes? Anything?
I can't think of any criticisms right now. I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we have a nice unfolding story. I always like a good dungeon crawl, but I like a good pirate ship. So I'm up for anything.
Right on.
As a viewer,
he set up
player, it's been highly entertaining to me. So
he set up a fortress crawl with rooms, and you're like, nope, we're taking the boat and going pirating. so you're sort of the one who changed the game.
No. Like I tried to search the fortress, we didn't find anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we found a couple of interesting things on the very bottom. Actually, you were out for that one where we were doing the actual bottom floor of that keeps crawl. Where we found a couple things. But
I'm hoping I can get that Carlos guy to teach me how to use that bull's necklace. See what it does.
Yep, that's something you'll have to explore next time, or you could always do it.
Maybe
I'm sorry.
Down in the hold. Maybe down in the hold in the dark. You guys can explore together.
What were you guys doing? He was teaching me how to take the bull by the horns.
He was teaching me about he was putting a bull necklace on me down in the dark.
I should have known better with this crowd.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun. Let's see. Knight of Barsoom. He says, I need the guest or JR to be lit on fire.
they had a betting pool about whether or not I'd get myself killed today.
Yeah, I saw that. It was pretty cool.
I listed my.
That's when they love. When they bet on your death is when they love you.
Yeah.
I listed the spells because I went and I fixed the one from Cure Light Wounds to sleep, And so I told them in chat, they're like, Sanoka's like, you're going to kill yourself accidentally casting them all on yourself at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you guys are set up for some good stuff because there's a lot of plot threads you could do. I mean, you could always try and investigate some of the bigger major kingdoms that are out there. You got the Rangers that when some of them survived and are imprisoned, being taken as slaves. You can go and try and rescue them.
So I do have a question. So I think after today, maybe I'll probably be on the verge of level 5, or at least approaching it. Does that how does that correlate? Druid versus the other
Engineer.
class. Yeah.
So on your sheet, if you look at the sheet, it covers you with special abilities up to level 3. And then at level 5, you can start taking advanced training. So for you, I believe it's level 5, 7, and 9. You start getting advanced training that you could take. Right now, unless you were to go back to the Broken Teeth to get that training, a lot of it's not going to be available. So instead, you would have to either pursue, and this is all going back to the Forgotten Ruin role-playing game that we're developing. Because a lot of the training isn't available, like let me just bring it up real quick. Let's see, where am I? So yeah, we're in the process of taking a lot of what you guys are doing and creating the Forgotten Ruin role-playing game, and like a lot of that training that would be easily applicable, you're not going to be able to do right away just because of the fact that there's nobody to teach it to you. You got to go back and get that training. So, but what is available in your area, if you decided to stay as an engineer, what is available is what's called either ruined paths or revealed paths. So a ruined path is you kind of do what Nick's doing. He's learning certain things. So once he gets to be 5th level, he could do something like the Warrior's Creed, where he starts developing the abilities of a duelist or fighter or so forth and so on. Or like if you wanted to do it, you could do Call of the Wild, where you start developing your druid abilities.
Right.
But do it while you're still the engineer, so it mimics the Forgotten Ruin books.
Dual class, yeah.
Well, no, not dual class. These are just plug-in abilities like you would get. Like if you look at old school 1 edition D&D as a fighter, pretty much all you got were these certain abilities. But if you look at some of the other classes, like Druid, at 3rd level, you could do this. At 5th level, you could wild shape. You could change into a certain animal. 7th level, blah, 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 right? And so there's in the Forgotten Ruin game, that's kind of applied to classes across the board. So like you could take a ruined path, which is you start like for example, there's Call of the Wild, right? So that allows you to have druidic abilities. Where your Call of the Wild, or it's first Call of the Wild, second Call of the Wild, so forth and so on, right? So at 5th level, you could take first Call of the Wild, and that would give you the ability to make sense of these whispers all the time, which is the planet calling out to you and whispering its secrets to you at pertinent times. You can you'll be able to cast spells up to a certain level. You'll be able to do this and that, right? If you take second Call of the Wild, it gives you another level of druidic abilities, such as being able to change shape, being able to access to higher level spells, right? Now, the difference between this and dual classing is with this, you still have access to your old engineer abilities, can still use firearms and stuff like that, but you now have access to these things that the ruin can teach you. The problem with it is you're never going to be as powerful as a full druid,
Right.
but once again, you still have you kind of like combining the best parts of both. Now, then those are the ruined paths, and then there's the revealed paths, which are you start changing into something else. Like in the first book, certain people changed into something when they got all like grr, right? When the Rangers were having a tough time, somebody dropped out of his clothes and went full on feral and started beating the crap out of some orcs, right? And that is a revealed path. So he's not just a ranger, he's also has a revealed path. So you will have those abilities. Will you be as powerful as a, say, full whatever that creature is? Because I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read the books. You might not be, but the whole point is we are trying to emulate those books, so it gives you the ability where you are a ranger, you still have your ranger abilities, you can still take that advanced training if you choose to, but in lieu of that advanced training, say for level 5, you decide to take where is it? So say you at level 5, you decide to take Raider 1, which requires the air assault or covert warfare specialized training. Rangers attack hard and fast and put their enemies off balance. This ability grants you a permanent +2 bonus to your initiative rolls. Right? So say you took that, and then at 7th level, when you get another advanced training slot, instead of taking, because if you're in the military for any longer than 5 minutes, you have to go to school. They're going to send you to additional training and teach you things, right? And this kind of emulates that. So at 7th level, when it's time for you to get your next stack of training, you could say, well, no, I want a revealed path now. And, you turn into a were pineapple, or, a
vampire.
A rabbit. You could be a vampire, exactly. At Vampire 1, I haven't written it yet. I have notes on it. But at Vampire level 1, you're not as powerful as a full vampire, but at the same time, you can regain hit points from draining people. You can you lose a point of constitution in the sun, but you gain a point of constitution at night.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, right? So I mean, it's all these different paths you can plug in and still play the operator / ranger class and still be a ranger and emulate the books. In the second book, Hit and Fade, there's a member of their company that it didn't go well, but then he shows up later and you're like, wait a minute. and there's a change in him. The ruin had revealed him, and basically if he was playing in the game, that would be, he could take that slot as a revealed slot, and that's what he'd be, right? Now the other side of that is you could dual class, kind of like what JR is doing, where he's just like, all right, I'm going from from pilot to mage, right? So he makes the transition to mage. Now it's just like dual classing in any other kind of D&D. If you're operating in that new class, you take on your new abilities. You have to start acting within the restrictions of the class, so forth and so on. But if you start acting in the old class, like if he starts pulling out a Mark 18 and just starts laying down covering fire, he's not really acting like a wizard. He's not learning what it means to be a wizard, so it's going to be harder for him to progress. Right? So that's kind of how that works.
The interesting thing, going back to that raid ability, is you gain the special ability, Devastate Buffet.
That's a specialist. Because the three special warfare classes in the game is the operator, the special agent, and then the specialist. So the operator, think Ranger, SEAL, Green Beret. Those are all the operators. Specialist, SAU-T guy, combat information system specialist, cyber warfare specialist, communication specialist. So those will be the specialist classes. And then the special agent, those are your alphabet soup guys who are strap hangers. Guys who are like infiltrators for the CIA, special missions operators for the DEA. These are going to be like all those alphabet soup guys who get put into special operations unit during certain special missions to kind of augment the force. And because going through into the ruin is an augmented force, some of these guys might have tagged along. And that's where you get like deep state guy. Of course, deep state guy in the new classes isn't a special agent. I believe I sent this one to you, Nick. He is where'd it go? He is the state liaison. Now, the cool thing about the state liaison class is you might be like, all right, this guy's basically a tool. You're sticking a politician right in the middle of, my special operations. But
he's got a charm person.
That's the thing. They're charismatic, so they study people and that they come into contact with. So when they, like, for example, one of the this is based off of one of the classes in Operation White Box. So number one, he's charismatic. Anytime he goes to deal with somebody, he gets pluses to his reaction roll in dealing with them. He's got a smooth operator ability where he starts talking to people and kind of convincing him, like, come to my side, because when I'm in charge of all this, some of this is going to be yours, and they start convincing people. But like, for example, the target has to make a saving throw after speaking with the liaison for 1 round. If they fail to roll, the target believes the liaison to be a trustworthy ally. This effect lasts until the liaison betrays the target, because he's a liaison, he's gonna do it, or they're presented with evidence of his true motives, which might not coincide with theirs. Until such time, the target will place his trust in the liaison and may even risk their life on his behalf. Yeah. So
you don't want to fail that saving throw, because then you're out there buying Kamala's condoms so she can.
So speaking of the Forgotten Ruin,
not to get political, everybody.
Did you send any coasties through the ruin? They've got to have some sort of special drug
coastie thing. Jason came up with it. He was thinking about a novel like where a coastie gunboat down in Nicaragua or something like that, or the Philippines or Indonesia, ends up like going through the mists of time and have a good time. But I think he just really wanted to basically use the character from G.I. Joe that had a parrot on his shoulder.
That would be awesome. Now, when I used to think of Coast Guard, I used to just think, hey, you guys were going 25 in a 20-mile-an-hour high-speed, no wake zone. Now when I think of Coast Guard, I think of that dude jumping off the boat onto a drug submarine and slamming on the hull. I was like, holy crap. You got to be.
Narcotics guys see some pretty intense shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'll give them credit for that. I won't give them credit for, yelling at somebody to go through, slow down in the no wake zone. But yeah, as of right now, we have the combat engineer, we have the combat medic, sniper, the state liaison, the trooper, which is probably gonna be the one that a lot of people play. That's gonna be your infantry or your grunt guy. And then you have the special warfare classes, which you can, from any other class, if you have the requirements, you can transition to a special warfare guy at level 3. We have the operator, which is, like Ranger or Green Beret. We have the special agent, which is like that DEA guy. And then you have the specialist, which is like cyber warfare guy. So there's a lot to play with, just even in that. And what's that?
You're forgetting the most important one. If SEALs are there, you need combat camera.
Because they have great publicists.
That's right.
Yep, you know it. So before we jump back into the Blackhawk and hope it doesn't crash on our way back to RTB. Final thoughts before we shut the doors.
Well, I don't want to get it political or anything.
But
That ship sailed.
Uh-huh.
It
I
was
see
a
what
lot
you
of fun
did there
today.
with the ship.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had fun today. I'm digging where it's going. It's fun just to play pirate because I'd have to buy like a copy of Sid Meier's Pirates and play it to have this much fun. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to go on good old fashioned games and buy Sid Meier's Pirates
Again.
I think
Yeah,
I probably
right
bought that game like 15 times.
Admit
is
it, you just like the dancing part. You like A, B. No, I was off beat.
No, I even like the old Pirates that was like on Apple IIe. I like just like sailing around and shooting at ships.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that? The Legend of the Black Cat? That was the one I played a lot of on the old Xbox.
That was a really great one. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Mike, parting thoughts.
I thought it was a great day, and I actually really liked how it ended. So we're gonna see what we can do with the cat card and see what we can do with training me up to be a druid.
Right
we'll
on. Sergeant Mustachio.
it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed putting a spear through that guy's hand. That was actually pretty cool. So
Right on.
I am happy with myself.
Captain Kogosha is saying that he wanted a total team kill. I can only work as fast as I can. It was going to be brutal until Nick exploded his sword.
The mustache protects.
That made his mustache go limp.
Oh my God! All right, JR, take us home.
So you are officially inducted as an honorary member in the Cliffhangering Bastard Society for leaving us like you do every week. But otherwise, I'm having a blast.
Right on. I love being part of the Cliffhanger Society. And speaking of the many societies that we deal with, don't forget to check out Gavin at Lord's Peak, number 142 this week on Twitch. So this Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Jay Scott, who runs the Lord Gazumba channel over on Twitch, he's going to have Ed Greenwood, Tony Winslow Brill, and Eric Mengi on. And they're going to talk about the Candlekeep Mysteries that is making all the rounds. So yeah, don't forget to check them out. They're a really good show. And if you got a minute or two, run on over to Kickstarter. Our friend Patty, who has played on the stream before, he's got a Kickstarter running for Eisendorf's cursed items. So all the cursed items and odd mysticism that you never knew you needed for your 5e game. He's got it up there and got some really great stuff. So we want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. And these After Darks are getting interesting because there's a lot more people showing up and really having some fun in the chat. We want to thank Captain Kogosha for keeping things flowing, moving, and grooving. And we'll catch you next time when sci-fi writers are playing old school D&D.